How's it going, everybody? Welcome to yet another episode of the Devil May Crypto. Just want to say before I start today, thank you for liking, subscribing, and commenting. You guys are the best. Today, I want to talk about this past week in crypto. I want to start doing these every single week. Just kind of do regular updates and what's happened, what's changed. Really quick, I want to go over the market cap. Today, as it stands, let me make sure it's like updated as far as we can go, but market cap 329 billion as of right now. The volume 12 billion, BTC dominance 44.1%. As we know, when the BTC dominance goes up, it's probably because the other altcoins aren't doing so great. People generally go back into Bitcoin, which is, as we know, the master, the king of all the other cryptocurrencies, for now at least. So if we look at the price in the past 7 days, it has kind of rebounded. So we were at 7,400, give or take, and then we were at 8,500. So we've had a pretty decent gain. And that's probably just due to what's happened in the past week, which we'll go over in just a second. So let's get into that now. So first thing I want to cover, something that maybe a lot of you have already heard. I think it's the biggest news of the week. Everybody I know probably had that trades in cryptocurrencies has a Binance account. Of course, there's plenty of others out there. I've kind of diversified in which ones I use, for arbitrage opportunities or, whatever else. I like to kind of diversify them. But Binance being my favorite and a lot of other people's favorites, but they moved from Hong Kong to Malta. That is pretty big news. They did that because Malta, just like it says here, the Prime Minister is welcoming crypto with open arms, and Binance, what was his name? I don't want to butcher it. I want to read it really quick, but Zhao Changpeng. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. He wants to go to a place that will nurture Binance, that will let them grow, let them be what they want to be, won't put severe restrictions on them, the regulations won't kill them off. He wants to grow in a place that wants cryptocurrencies and will treat his exchange right, and Malta is the one for him. So I think that's a very positive thing. That's probably one of the biggest things that happened this week, but a lot of what we're going to see probably with the next few years is certain countries that want to either enhance the growth of a lot of these cryptocurrencies and these companies that work within them, and some that are going to try to shut them down. I think in long term, every single country, every nation will want to move towards the cryptocurrency trend. It is new. A lot of governments are trying to protect themselves. They're like, how are we going to tax people? How are we going to control the people? Like, what is all this? So in time, we'll see how that plays out. But, Malta being one of the few that wants to be a trailblazer. So good for you, Binance. Second thing, so the cryptocurrency market bounced back a little bit with positive G20 watchdog statements. G20 came together, I believe it was in Buenos Aires. Am I correct? So they came together and they pretty much gave good sentiment on cryptocurrencies. People actually were scared of the G20. Investors and everybody else in the crypto world, they were scared that it was going to be negative. The price actually shot down a bit before the G20 summit happened because they speculated that they weren't going to be good about it. Right afterwards, we shot a little bit up because people were like, oh my God, wow, they like us. They really, really like us. So that was another thing that happened this week that was very, very positive and one of the reasons why we bounced back up. After that, the U.S. Congress releases extraordinary report praising cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. That is awesome. If Congress has been on board, of course, we've seen the sentiment, grow ever since they've been talking about it within our government. I think as of right now, things like ICOs aren't available to us because we don't have the regulation around it. There's a lot of gray area in the United States. Me being somebody in the United States, a lot of my viewers, you guys might be international, but it's very, very positive for us to have these kind of talks, especially being the Congress. They would need to get to it really, really quickly to make some sort of laws and some governing rules around it, which I think will happen. I'm one of the people that think or that think it's going to be a positive thing to put regulation around it and to have some rules implemented and some bylaws, and just go forward from there, because it's just how government works. You you won't see things happening that are happening right now. Certain scams, certain just kind of like what happened recently with Facebook doing its ban, or sorry, Google doing its ban on advertisements from cryptos. That's a sort of that's within the realm of there bad things can happen through cryptos. A lot of people that are investors, they know that they're pretty much never going to invest in something when it's a pop-up and it's like how to become a millionaire in this, buy this crypto, this and this. So it's seen as a positive thing. Regulation, certain bans, certain requirements out of cryptos and companies, they seem negative, but they're actually positive. Okay, so when you build around it as a governing institution, and when you let people be part of these cryptos, these projects, that will always be positive, in my opinion. It has to happen across the board in any single perspective. It will be positive as long as it's not too harsh, as long as it's not banning it. This is positive. They talked about it really well, and we'll only go up from there. But all governments that are smart, in my opinion, they're going to want to have some good sentiment about it. They're going to want their people to get in on this, because there's a lot of money in it. And if there's money in it, a government can profit off it. It'll be a positive for them. So the Congress talking about it, great. France prepares for a cryptocurrency ICO framework. This also happened this week. Of course, that's awesome. Internationally, like I'd said, a lot of the countries that want to harbor a lot of positive feelings about cryptocurrencies, and then want to establish some regulation that will not harm the cryptocurrency community within that country is extremely positive. And I think it's one of the things that increased the price this week, and it'll only go from there. ICOs being one of the things that a lot of people would like to do versus just exchange back and forth. A lot of the money are in ICOs. Of course, what we've been seeing is a lot of scam ICOs and a lot of really bad ones. The exit. The exit scams that you see, like one of the biggest ones that happened the past few weeks was an exit scam, and just at the top of the page just said penis. It was like a big FU to everybody that invested in it. They're like, we're rich now. Everybody just go kill yourselves, basically. So France is up to bat here, and what they'll do is they'll probably just put in some put into effect a lot of laws, a lot of regulations when it comes to what you can do when you have an ICO, how much, just kind of build around it. And then you have to take accountability for it. They'll probably stop things from happening like exit scams. So another good thing happening. And then Yahoo Japan to launch cryptocurrency exchange in 2018. Yahoo Japan is getting into it. Another thing that happened is Binance closed their Japan sector recently just because of regulation. But I see that as when companies like Yahoo in Japan are trying to get into it and trying to open up their own exchange, that can only mean that the government will probably have more pressure to allow it to flourish. So we'll see how that goes from there. It is I don't know how for sure it is, how certain it is, if it's on track, if they've already talked to the government, how well it's planned. But the fact that they want to get into it is great in the first place. Last but not least, what I want to get into, Google working on its own blockchain-related technology. Google being the most, I think, well-known company in the entire, one of the most well-known ones in the entire world. That is a huge bonus, I think, that they're getting into blockchain. Of course, blockchain being the backbone to a lot of cryptocurrencies. Blockchain doesn't necessarily have one exact definition, because there's the blockchain that came with Bitcoin, and that established itself outside of what happened after 2008, and how it went from there. So now blockchain's kind of its own entity versus Bitcoin, when they're actually kind of interconnected. But that's a whole other story in itself. But Google sees the beauty in it, which is awesome. That's very positive sentiment for every other investor that's out there. They see, wow, if Google's getting into it, this must mean something good. These are all stepping stones. Okay, everything that happened this week, that's positive. You're going to see it, increase the prices like this. It's going to increase sentiment, and it's going to be overall positive for the community. Going forward from here, we can only see what happens after more talks and after certain countries, like Malta. There's going to be countries that are trailblazers. If they do well, other countries will follow suit. That's just how it's going to work. If you see somebody doing really well, if your next door neighbor is becoming a millionaire in a year or two, you're like, hey, what are you doing? Because I want to do the same exact thing. It's just the way the world works. So we'll see how it goes from there. One thing I wanted to also bring up before we stop is I brought up, it was kind of hard to find some information from reputable companies. Forbes had a few, but I thought, finding an actual, Chinese, Chinese code, it's called Xinhua Net. But China gears up for its launch of crude oil futures. This isn't necessarily directly linked to cryptocurrencies in this matter, but it's something I want to bring up for one reason. I did a video not too long ago. I'll link it towards the end of this video, but it talks a little bit about how the American dollar system, how money's created, this, and this, and how we're in the petrodollar system right now. Well, the petrodollar system basically means that the American dollar, every other country has a need for it because they need to exchange it for oil. It's all oil is pretty much exchanged through the American dollar. It gives it this artificial necessity to keep it, and to hold on to it. And it's kind of like Bitcoin. You have to trade everything in Bitcoin. You want to keep some Bitcoin, just because you're going from there. Now there's Ethereum and other pairs too, but America has this hegemony over the system because of its petrodollar system. Well, what China has been trying to do for a while is establish itself in there. So they're gearing up for oil future contracts, and they already have a few countries that are going to work with them towards converting, having the yuan or the renminbi. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, to be the petro yuan. So the same system that the United States has, China's trying to do the same thing. As you know, China. They do like to copy what they see works, and they do a pretty good job of it. So it's something that they've tried to do before. It's failed for reasons that I can only assume is because it's so dominated by its government. Their currency, it's not like a free market like the United States. So a lot of countries, I think, initially will have a problem with it. Their control of their currency is much more vast in other places, and it is a different type. It is not capitalistic, in terms of like how the United States is. And the United States doesn't have direct control. It has other institutions that control its money, but it's not necessarily the exact government. It's different governing bodies. It's a long story, but I talk about it in other videos. But is this going to end the petrodollar system? I don't think so. I think it's a step for them to take. Will other countries follow suit, and they'll stop trading the U.S. dollar, and they'll get the yuan instead and trade for oil in that way? That would have to be years from now. It won't be something imminent. But it's dropping tomorrow. So March 26th in the morning is when these futures contracts will begin. So we can only see what happens from there. In my opinion, China is probably, I think they at this point are the #1 importer of oil in the entire world, and it'll only go from there. So if their economy gains any more traction, if they grow from this point on, who knows what will happen in the future? But in the next year or two won't be huge changes. I don't think people trust China or their currency because of how controlled it is, and because of regulations around it, and the manipulation of it. I think the American dollar, even though I've explained my issues with the American dollar and our fiat system, I think it won't be necessarily upended by that currency as of right now. Who knows, 10 years, 20 years from now, but what I want to get back to and why this is important is because it is important for one reason, and that is because of the strength of the dollar being affected by it. So this will change sentiment, and people will feel differently about it. They'll be like, okay, well, if China's doing this, and how strong is the dollar? If other countries follow suit, the price, inflation will go up in the United States. The worth of the American dollar will go down. Who knows when that'll happen? Who knows if it'll happen, or what the cases are? But I will say time and time again, hedge your bets. Put some money in Bitcoin, put some money in cryptocurrencies, have some of your assets be in cryptocurrencies. That's why this is important. Any type of global currency from any country, they fail all the time. Crypto, I believe, is the future. So it's something to look into. I've talked to, like I said, I'll link in my other video, but this is just another step, and this is kind of another part of the video I want to talk about in this one, which goes back to my other one. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. Please subscribe and please like. Thank you for watching another episode. I'll see you guys in a few days.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face, tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.